Okay, this episode starts off with, color, and then it fades into the black and white scene. So I'm excited to see what this is about. So Omi pulls over to the sign and he's reading the plaque, and we hear a knock inside the hood. Omi walks over, pop the trunk, and it's a white man in the trunk. The white man like, 6 fucking hours? Are you serious? I had to piss in my fucking shoe. Where are we at anyway? So Omi says, Pluto. So tell me again. He came to see you and he needed guns. So the man in the truck like, he's going to kill all of you. So Omi asks, who, Calamita? And tell me, because I'll tie your ass to this hood of this bumper and you'll be running up the road. So the man in the trunk get to telling him. He like, Calamita came to us for some hardware. He said he needed some pistols and rifles, and he was going to Kansas and kill some people. So Omi needed more details. He said Kansas is a state, and who is he going to kill? So the man said liberty, I don't know, a Sweden guy, an Irishman, boy, I don't know. Well, sir, you're in the wrong position to call somebody your boy. Omi shuts the truck and up the road he go. Omi pulls into a gas station, and a man that's sitting there, a black man sitting there, he works at the gas station, and he asks Omi, he said, you ever met you a Korean? I ain't never met me no Korean. So Omi said, I met a Thailand woman once in my life, but I'm not sure what you call her. Hey, have you seen a Italian fellow, skeletal looking, wearing a red coat come by here? So the man said, most we get is farmers coming this way or people going to church. So Omi continues like, he can't be that far ahead of me. And the man in the truck gets to banging. He just keep banging. So the store clerk asks like, it ain't none of my business, but you sure that record's going on in that truck is something that you should be concerned about? Omi said, nope. So the man continues like, well, we the only Phillips station for a good hop, so if he's coming this way, we'll see him for sure. Omi asks, you mind if I wait around back? And the store clerk explains, he like, well, Em and Henry are at church. They real religious, like I said. They don't usually come back around to about Sunday evening. But then again, I ain't supposed to be dwindling with strangers. So Omi said, how about I paint up that wall for you? So the man like, shit, you mean to tell me I can get me a drink and sit here and watch you do some work? Well, you got a deal. So Omi pulls around back. He let the guy out the trunk and he put the guy to work, and they get to painting the wall. They finish the wall, still no Calamita. So now after painting the wall, they're chilling, taking a drink. And the white man said, you boys really think y'all running things around here, don't y'all? So Omi said, a white man called my father boy one time, and he had to get wooden teeth just like George Washington. So the white man that was in the trunk was like, look, I'm all for you colors trying to break even. We watch our bosses take the fat part and leave us scrounging for dimes. So Omi said, us? No, I'm not saying it like that. But let's look at it like this. He was talking about a turtle, a king turtle. And the king turtle he was rule over everything, but he couldn't really see everything. So he got a bunch of turtles and they all stacked to the top. So now the king turtle at the top. But now that the king turtle was at the top, he doesn't realize that the men at the bottom are being crushed. And that was a good message because, Omi's out there doing all this work, but this is some dangerous shit, and Canada's sitting back, and Omi's still just going to be a goon when he get back and did all that work trying to get Satchel back. So as he trying to finish the story, a car pulls around, and the guy that was in the trunk, he was about to make a move, which was stupid and cost him his life because Omi shot him right down. And it fades into one day prior. And we see Rabbi and Satchel, and they just are driving. They on the run. They just are riding up the road. Satchel is nagging about how much longer, and he's hungry, and that's to be expected. He's a kid, and he's not used to this condition. His father is a man of status in the black community, so he don't know anything about being on the run. But Rabbi's keeping his word to lawyer, and he's looking out for Satchel. And they just riding up the road, and we just see the sign that says Liberal, Kansas. So Rabbi pulls up to this lodging, and he asks the lady at the desk that he needs a room for a night or two. So it's a black lady looking like she back in the 1800s, the plantation days. She's like, Plymouth Rock or Sutler Mills. Rabbi said, what? The lady said, well, things work a Pacific way around here, and I need to know where to put you. Satchel was taking all of this in, just looking around, looking at the weird ass pictures of the that was behind the desk of the two sisters. So the lady asked Rabbi a series of questions to figure out whether to put him on the east side or the west side. So she said west side it is. And the lady said, and your valet, talking about Satchel, and Rabbi like, no, we take care of each other. He's with me. The lady said, well, the sisters really doesn't care for colors. The two sisters are Pensacola and Niola Crumb. And the scene, the vibe is giving me like Good Witch, Bad Witch from Wizard of Oz. But anywho, Rabbi said, I understand. Let's go, kid. So the lady said, now hold on. It isn't a rule. They just don't care for us. Just stay clear and you'll be fine. She continues to give Rabbi and Satchel a tour. So she's telling them, this is the sitting area. And the sisters have everything divided in the house, east and west. The stairwell has a tape right down the middle to divide the east and the west. So when they were going up the steps, they walked on the west side. And the hostess leave Rabbi and Satchel to get settled in their room. Once in the room, Rabbi tells Satchel that, they're going to need money because being on the run is expensive. And that he's going to have to go in town and that Satchel cannot go with him. Satchel is nervous, as he should be. And Rabbi assures him, like, you'll be fine. And if I don't come back, I'm either dead or in jail. Okay, so Rabbi pulls up to the spot that was in on that paper that was in the Bible, that Ad Feed and Seed, except it's no longer Ad Feed and Seed, is now under new management. So instantly Rabbi is like, oh shit, let me find the fuck out what's going on. So Rabbi goes inside and he asks the owner, like, what happened to the feed? So the owner says that Miss Gingerly, her three boys, they all went to war and they died. So she was stricken with grief and she turned her business over to her brother, which he gambled the family fortune up. And he gambled it up and lost the business. So Rabbi asks, like, it used to be a wall here. What happened to it? And you can see the owner just getting nervous, and the phone rings, and he goes back and answer the phone, and Rabbi just leaves out. Back at the hotel, Satchel is sitting in the room being bored, trying to stay in the clear. And it's some scratching in the wardrobe. So he goes over to the wardrobe and finds a dog. And that's Toto. And the dog tag reads Rabbit. So, Satchel like, is that your name, Rabbit? And I just feel like it's too close to Rabbi, like something is about to happen to Rabbi. So he gets to playing with the dog, and the dog runs out the room down the steps, and Satchel go chasing after him. And he finds himself in the sitting room. So in the sitting room, Satchel finds himself talking to two guys who's traveling to find success. One is a motivational speaker, and one is looking to find oil in Texas. I think this is like mocking the Wizard of Oz with the crazy, weird characters. Not so much, the lion and the Tin Man, but so much, just a bunch of different people with different personalities in the pursuit of finding success. Rabbi comes through the door and he grills Satchel like, didn't I tell you to stay in the room? So Satchel like, I ran after the dog. He like, who dog? Rabbi like, come on upstairs. Back in the room, Rabbi's thinking about his money. And he takes his shoe off and see a hole in it. And I just think that just made him feel even more hopeless. Forget a penny with a hole in it. He is in the middle of snow with a hole in his shoe. And he broke and on a run. And I think he's thinking about, getting his money back one way or another. Honey, when that dinner bell rang, Satchel flew out of there faster than lightning. The East Side sister was like, no colors at the table. So the West Side sister was like, my side, my rules. Satchel was so happy to hear that he was ready to get his grub on. Hunk, the salesman that was in the sitting room with Satchel, his ass is so nosy. He wants to know who Satchel and Rabbi is so bad. So he's going around the table introducing everyone. And everyone is a character. Everyone is weird and, they have a unique way about them. So Hunk like, and you are? So Rabbi said, well, I'm Duff and my friend right here, his name is Colt. So they're all like, oh, okay. One of the sisters like, who, what'd he say? Both of the sisters are hard of hearing and they have like a hearing aid. So the lady at the table, she says, well, he said that he's an Irishman and the Negro with him is a Ward. No, he said that his name was Duff and Satchel name was Colt. Like that's what I'm talking about. The ilk of American culture is all about the color of your skin. That's your status a lot of times. And they didn't acknowledge him as Duff and them as Duff and Colt. She acknowledged him as, a Negro and an Irishman. A weird bunch at this table. And the conversation goes to the story of Goldilocks and the Three Bears. And the man was saying that Goldilocks really was an outsider in search of herself. And how the story really didn't have no ending. As far as like the bears, yes, they got the home and they, got Goldilocks outside of their home. But for Goldilocks, where would she go? She don't have no family, no home. Where does she fit in at? So it had Satchel, thinking about his own life and future. He feels like the Goldilocks. Okay, next, Rabbi and Satchel head over to the appliance store. And the owners are in there talking about Rabbi. So the owner's talking shit like, yeah, the next time he come back, he flashes his gun and say, yeah, I got this for him. So Rabbi comes from around the back and say, you got what for me? So the brothers continue to act dumbfounded like they don't know what Rabbi's talking about, with what money in the wall. So Rabbi hits the brother with the gun. The other brother like, no, the rest of it, what's left is in the safe. So Rabbi goes in the safe and he pulls out a wad of cash. And he said, it was $5,000 in this bag. Meanwhile, Satchel is getting harassed by a police officer in a car. Satchel is literally doing nothing but sitting there with the dog, and the officer asked Satchel to get out the car for absolutely nothing. Satchel was only, 10, 11, and he asked him to get out the car. And Rabbi just all of a sudden pulls up, so we don't know what he did to the brothers, if anything. So Rabbi said, yes, man, help you, officer. The officer said, this your car? He said, yeah. He was like, you riding around with a colored kid? He said, yes. I fought beside his father in the war. His father died and I vowed to take care of him. So now the police officer is looking stupid as shit because he asks Rabbi, why would he do such a stupid thing as to take care of a black kid? And now he feels stupid after, this man's supposed to have lost his life fighting for this country. But why can't black men be respected no matter what his job is or what he do? The cop told Rabbi, well, if you're going to be driving around with a colored kid, you need to keep him out of sight. What type of shit is that? But okay. Okay, back in the room, Rabbi tells Satchel, you know what, we're going to leave today. So Satchel said, well, can the dog come too? Can Rabbit come? And he's like, no, it's another mouth to feed. He's another responsibility. No. So Satchel, he got in his feelings, and Rabbi said, so what's wrong with you? What is all that for? He said, well, I thought I can get something for my birthday. And so Rabbi, he stopped and he was like, damn, I didn't even think about it. Today your birthday? And, he went downstairs. He tried to ask the lady at the front desk if they had any sweet treats. And she said no, that the sister doesn't like sugar, but it's a gas station up the road that he can find something sweet to eat there. Rabbi doesn't tell Satchel. He just goes straight to the gas station. Rabbi goes inside the gas station, and we see that the black man that's the clerk at the gas station, he was dead. So we know that we caught up with in present time. Rabbi peeps inside the window, and he sees Calamita, and he has Omi wounded on the ground with a gunshot wound. The way Omi was looking at Rabbi through the window alerted Calamita, and Calamita turned around and him and Rabbi start shooting back and forth at each other. They gets outside, and Calamita gets a good shot at Rabbi in the shoulder, it looks like. And Omi comes from behind, and he starts shooting Calamita. But Omi just had one shot. So, he got a good shot. But when Calamita turned around, Omi was out of bullets, and he lit Omi ass up. Calamita lit Omi ass up. Meanwhile, Rabbi is sitting there, just standing there. Calamita turns back towards Rabbi, and as Rabbi is trying to shoot Calamita, the heavy winds from the tornado, like a wooden plank, knocked the gun out of Rabbi's hand. Tornado was eating everything up, the street lights, cars. Then Calamita got eaten up, and next it was Rabbi. And oh my goodness, I was so heartbroken. Rabbi was probably my favorite character as well, one of my favorites at the writer, because he just had a genuine heart, and I like that. May he rest in peace. God bless his heart. I wanted Calamita to die a terrible death for some reason. I just did. That was too easy, that tornado whipping him up. No, I wanted him to die harder. Okay, back at the room, Satchel wakes up from a nap. He notices that Rabbi still hasn't returned. So he goes out of the room, and the picture turns back to color, and I thought that was interesting. As Satchel is walking down the hall, you can hear the man with the bandages on his face saying, I am the Alpha and Omega. I am the beginning and the end. I will write what I see and put it in the 7 books that's in Asia. And that was interesting as well, because that's back to what Ethel Writer tells us about who write our history and how it's being told. So Satchel goes to the doorway, and Satchel said, I just woke up. So the man says, come closer, and now we see that it's Rabbi's father who was killed in the betrayal. So Satchel like, oh no, I ain't going in there. He like, it smells like rain. And the man said, oh, you don't have to worry about flood. Like, next time it's going to be fire. Okay, so now I'm analyzing this. We have Rabbi's dead daddy, and they're talking about he's the Alpha and Omega, the beginning and the end. Oh, and before that, we had Satchel when he walked out into the hall, color came back into the picture. And when Satchel said he smelled rain, I was thinking, rain represents, new life. It's bringing new life. When he was telling Satchel, you don't have to worry about the rain, was he telling Satchel, this is your new life ahead of you? Satchel says, I'm looking for my friend. And the man said, come closer. When he said that, I thought it was interesting. Was he telling Satchel, come closer and you'll see that Rabbi is in me, because that is Rabbi's father. Anyway, I just thought that whole scene was interesting. But Satchel was like, no, I'm not eating the cake, anime. He said he backed up out of there. As Satchel was going to his room, he looks inside another guest room, and this guest, one was a pastor, and his companion that was with him was his actual mother, who looks like his wife, and they're in pajamas folding up a flag. Like, it's just weird as hell. So it gave me a sense of, Goldilocks, and what Hunk said at the dinner table when he said Goldilocks really didn't have a place or family or anything to call her own. She don't know where she belongs. I feel like this is what Satchel is feeling at this exact moment. Satchel goes to his room, put the chair behind the door, lock the door. He got his gat in his hand ready for whoever come through that door. He falls asleep, and it's the next morning. Still no sign of Rabbi, who always told him, if I don't come back, I'm either dead or in jail. So Satchel heard it so much that he knows, like, something happened. Satchel grabs Rabbit, and he hit the road. And as he's walking, he come across the billboard that Rabbi been nagging the guy that was putting the billboard up to finish. And it says the future is now. Interesting. So will Satchel be like Dorothy and find his way back home? Or will he make a life for himself? We'll find out on the next episode of Fargo. Thanks for listening, and I'll see you guys on the next episode.